Hello. Welcome. Now, I know that you see me here, but you don't see someone on the other side. That's because, well, my little ones are still waiting for their bus, and their bus was supposed to be here already. So, Mama Bear is with them. So, we're going to get started with just little old me until the Mom Bear can come down. Because the bus has not arrived, has not gotten here, which is wild. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Morning Quest with Doodle and CMoney. Doodle will be here shortly. Guys, welcome. I see you all in the chat. Jacob, what's good? Timmy, what is up, my man? Six Slayer, what is going on? Sith Lord, RWK88, what is good, everyone? Oh man, what a weekend, what a week. Huh? It was very, very interesting what went down. What a week it's been, Six Layer. Exactly. It's been quite a week. Isaac Hayes, good morning, my man. How you doing? So listen, we have some stuff to jump into. Obviously we talked about it, but there's so many more I guess a lot of more shows we're talking about it, and it's still out there. And I think there's still this question, people are still wondering whether or not Jim is retiring or whether or not he got the boot. RWK, now we're in Eastern time over here. And I think we're gonna dive into it deeper because I think that everything is laid out for us to know what actually took place. But before we get popping with that, actually, I forgot to do this over here. Get the banner going. Um, there we go. Yes, so I wanted to go ahead and get started with a little bit of housekeeping. Um, just want to remind you guys, YouTube won't let us monetize. So if you ever had a desire to help out and support the channel, please feel free to join our Patreon. The link is in the description. Not in the description. Well, it is in the description, but it's also pinned to the comments. And you would be like these fine people who have done so here, just like our boy Jacob Novik, Mr. Joanna Dark, Dragonheart Yobi, and Fonto Sir. We really do appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for that kind support. Big boy Mike, what is up, my man? Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let me do this because I did forget over here to come here, do this. Sorry about this. Just completely forgot. Go here. All right, go there. Do that. Do that. No, do that. Do that. Do that. There we go. Almost forgot that. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, so let's also, before we get into the juicy stuff, also shout out to our Discord. If you're not part of our Discord, you should definitely give it a join. All the information is right on the screen right there. It's a cool way for us to kind of keep interacting in between these live streams. Now, we do have a kind of shake up to our lineup of shows this past weekend, right? We normally go live on Saturday for our gaming podcast. We went live on Thursday this week because our twins' birthday was on Saturday. So we kind of wanted to, take the day with them. And, you know, doing so, it made us remember what it was like to have a weekend free for us and the family. Um, so after the weekend, last night we were thinking about it and we made some decisions. So there is going to be a change. Okay. So the lineup going forward, okay, will be as follows. So you have today's show, which you guys are already here. So thank you so very much. That's Morning Quest. That's 9 a.m. Eastern time. Then on Tuesdays, we have our guest show, which is her, him, and a guest. And this week's guest is none other than our boy Dirt Griggity. So he will be here tomorrow with us live at 7 p.m. Eastern time. All right. Now, this is where the shakeup is going to come in. Going forward on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Eastern, we will be going live with our gaming podcast, On Point, the gaming newscast. It will no longer be on Saturdays. We enjoyed having our Saturday for us and the family, so we're gonna stick to that. So Thursdays, 5 p.m. Eastern time, On Point, the gaming newscast. And then fun, it's funny, that's fun speculation. Just join. What's up, Mav? Good morning, my man. Um, Last week we were on Fun Speculation Show, Mav show at night. So we went early with our show, On Point Anime and Beyond. Well, turns out we actually like the idea of going early because even if we weren't on, Mav's show that night, kind of let us have a start our Friday night together too, kind of as a family and just kind of get to hang out. So we're gonna keep that time slot that we were on last week. So we are gonna stay at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays for On Point Anime and Beyond. It's just better for us. We got 6 kids, and it's great for us to kind of be able to spend more time with them. So that's the shakeup. All right. So Monday morning quest, 9 a.m. Tuesday, her, him, and a guest, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, On Point, the gaming newscast, 5 p.m. Eastern. And Friday, On Point Anime and Beyond, 6 p.m. Eastern time. All right. So that is that. All right. So now, Jimmy Boy, our boy Jim. Right. Again, I've listened to all the podcasts. We did talk about it and said our piece on Thursday, but listening to more podcasts from then till now, I feel like I want to talk about it again because I think, there's a lot of people who are still teetering on this idea that, this was a retirement, that Jimmy Boy decided that it was just his time. He's so tired of flying first class and running around and living his life in different places for parts of the month. Um, so there's a lot in there that is just pure like BS. Okay. The reason being is because, and this is really the linchpin of it all, it kind of just erases all the idea that this was anything that was pre planned. Um, when the whole deal got announced, okay, we have all these leaked emails and all these leaked documents, right? We have an email from Jim Ryan where he specifically says that he's okay with this. He has no problem with the um acquisition, and he's doesn't think he's going to lose Call of Duty. He feels like everything is good. He spoke with Phil, he spoke with Bobby. Like, he made it really clear. This was no sweat off his back. Plus, they have so much in store. They have some amazing things they're working on. This is a non-issue, nothing to stress about, right? So we went from them having no issue with this whatsoever, living the fine life on his email. He was just happy as pie, right? No stress. He was not concerned about this deal. Then all of a sudden, like, as you saw the progression from the acquisition to the trial, like, you just saw this switch in desperation, right? And you just saw how, like, aggressive he was towards the idea of this deal not happening. Now that guy who was sitting there perfectly fine on that email, something happened, right? It was like a switch, right? Something happened where he was all of a sudden so against the idea of this going through. And I think it's pretty clear now, right? And that's really the thing. You have to look at it on the entire spectrum of it, right? You have to take all the information we knew before and then see what's happening right now and realize that they are cementing the essentially the fact that this was not a retirement. They're cementing the idea that this was in fact them nicely getting rid of him. Okay. This is the nicest way it could have been done. Okay. Allowing him to go ahead and, kind of quote unquote gracefully leave the company. Because my man, he is not only retiring, but if he was just retiring, right? Just in any normal situation of the world, he would not just retire and number one, not have someone lined up to go ahead and take his place. Number two, he wouldn't be retiring and being cut off from any decision making. Oh my god, it's just so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. He wouldn't be cut off from making any decisions or running anything until the day comes because he would be transitioning with the person and still making the moves he needs to make. Obviously, no huge decisions are going to be made from announcement time to then, but dude, he's like not allowed to speak. Like he's just literally just sitting in there until that moment comes. And the biggest damning issue is that the person that they have taking over is not someone from SIE, is not someone who works in that department. It's not a Herman Hulse, it's not a Shuhei Yoshida, it's not a Scott Rhodey or anybody else who is, a prominent figure in the PlayStation brand or PlayStation lineup. The guy they have replacing him, it's just so funny, is literally the number 2 guy at Sony proper, right? Not the PlayStation, right? Sony proper, right? So he's the COO and the CEO, okay? And he is going to come ahead and take over for Jim Ryan. And he made a statement. In his statement, he had no talk about I'm here to help with the transition for us to go find someone to take his place. He's like, nah, I'm looking forward to working with Jim to get everything going, and we're building out our future. Like he's not planning to go anytime soon. My man is in it for the long haul right now. There's no conversation going on where he's saying that, "Yeah, we're gonna be working to get somebody in as fast as we can." And what that tells me is Japan is not excited with the direction that things are going, okay? Now, yeah, so there's still no bus. My wife just reached out. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the bus I don't know if, where we live, there was a strike going on with the bus people, like, right at the beginning of the school year, and, we had, like, a couple days where the bus came, and then they went on strike, and then it was, like, a week or something, and then they figured it out, but ever since then, the bus has been coming all random times, and it's crazy. So, yeah, right now, it's still not there, so we don't know what's going on with that. Um, okay, so sorry about that. So she should be coming down soon. All right, so as far as Jimmy Boy is concerned, they don't like the direction. That's just the way it plays out in front of you when you look at all the facts, right? Japan is getting more hands-on with this. They have the number 2 guy from Japan running it. That is, if anything, it's like an aggressive way of letting us know that they're not happy with the way the roadmap is laid out. Now, we've been crying about this roadmap, right? Because I don't know when. I honestly, I can't even think of a time where where we knew so little of what's coming, right? There's a difference between us not getting updates on games that we know are coming, and then there's a completely different situation where we just don't know what's coming, right? Like PlayStation is famous for giving us these crazy long roadmaps of games that are coming. We don't even know when, but at least they had some type of idea. Like we knew these things were coming at some point or another. Where now it's just we have zero idea outside of PlayStation. Uh, Doodle has arrived. Challenger has
I'm
entered.
so sorry.
Doodle,
Good
baby,
morning.
good
Yes.
morning.
How are you?
Hello.
Good
See, guys,
morning, you guys.
never fear. Doodle is here. My baby
Thank you.
girl.
What are
So,
you guys up to?
so we are
First
talking
off, I know I'm
about.
sorry you guys have been talking. I hope you guys had an awesome weekend. I'm so happy to be here. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Um, so we are. So we are talking about Jim Ryan, our boy, Jimmy Jim,
Cracker
and
Jack.
essentially how he's been like like our whole roadmap, everything. Like Jim was not obviously retiring. He's out, right? They pushed him out. They forced him out. They got a Japanese, the head of the Japanese Sony, right? So the head of the guy is number 2 to the CEO, taking over. Listen, we all know it's true, okay? But there's more things that have come out. But baby, just to kind of get you into it,
Yes.
what are your early thoughts on this idea of our boy Jim not retiring, but in fact
I
being
don't
canned?
believe I didn't buy it for a moment. Like he was never he wasn't planning to retire. His job was threatened. If this ABK deal goes through, then you're out. Because Jim, if we go back to those emails that he sent Phil, so arrogant, so demanding, um, he was very confident in what he can get. And it was mind blowing to me the fact that he would write back to Phil in those terms. Like, you understand that you're not the top dog right here telling Philly how things should go. And that's the approach that he had. Again, that he had until he lost it completely. He lost his freaking mind. He was acting out of control. And you've never seen that type of behavior from Jim. It was very desperate
Yeah.
and as if he had a lot to lose by this taking place. You know, we saw somebody who was angry, again, desperate. It seemed like he was just pinned against the wall, like he knew everything to lose if this took place. And this is the same confident dude that was sitting there demanding things about how this was going to play out to Phil. It just is not the same person. It doesn't add up. It's not the same perspective. Something
Agreed.
changed.
And you can see because he even pushed away like sweetheart deals. You know what I'm saying? Like deals that he could have
Yes.
had that would have made it much better for him and PlayStation. And you can obviously see that he was in a situation where it's all or nothing.
Because at that point, he was no longer looking out for PlayStation, he was looking out for Jim, right? So it didn't matter
Exactly.
how good of a deal when it comes to business that was. What mattered was that this deal was shut down, which
100%.
it was not,
And
right?
and that's exactly when see, we didn't know the context of it before when it was happening because we didn't know what the outcome was gonna actually look like with Jim, right? But when
Yes.
he said to Xbox and Bobby Kotick and Lulu, and he went ahead and said that he doesn't want a new deal, he wants to block your merger, right?
Yes. And now let's
He
remember
was
how this
telling us.
started. This entire thing started about negotiating, right? He
Yep.
never lost his shit and said something like this. He was
Yeah,
complaining
exactly.
about the fact that they were gonna try to keep Call of Duty from PlayStation, and we were like, "What the heck? How is this
Yeah,
this
like,
is
we
not
knew
what
it
you were
was good
telling
from the
us? Where is
PlayStation.
this coming from? Now you just want to stop the deal?"
Exactly. Big Boy Mike says, "Jim crying, lying, dancing shoes, retiring, Ryan lied about so much in the beginning. So why would we believe him now?"
That's right.
Facts.
That's true.
Big Boy says, "That is probably why we didn't see him on the Pass to Sony showcase." Well, for sure. They didn't want him even out there anymore. Like, they're already disassociating him from PlayStation. I mean, I'm surprised. Honestly, the one thing I will say is that
Yeah.
I'm surprised that, um, that they even let him go so gracefully. Like, after seeing what they did to Sean Layden, who was amazing for PlayStation, who we've still been living Sean Layden's actual PlayStation that he's all these games and stuff that he put in motion. Like, Jim hasn't done shit for us, but somehow he got to gracefully bow out as opposed to, you know, just getting the boot, get the silent treatment, right? He should have just been deleted. Out of anybody, he should have just been deleted because he failed miserably. But
He really did.
maybe they feel like it would have been a bad look for Sony to
Well,
have
it was
him.
different times, love. That's the thing. Like, nowadays, you probably can't get away with doing something like that and still, like, remain who you are, right? And without getting trashed, right, in social media. And also, I I'm really annoyed that they let him go that far when it comes to, like, messing up their name. I feel like they could have stopped this. They saw that he was a little bit out of control, right? Let's tame the beast. Like, okay, you're not doing this right. We told you to go ahead and stop this deal, but not in the way that you're doing so, not the way that you're going about it, right? It shouldn't be by dragging the PlayStation name and messing up the brand. Because
Yeah.
essentially, that's what he did. He said that without Call of Duty, they're nothing, that, none of their studios can produce games like they can, and it's, like, embarrassing. Like, stop him. Say that he's on some type of medication and he needs a break, or, like,
Well,
he's
but
really stressed
obviously,
and he needs a
but
break.
I think the point is that this was now seeing what took place. This is desperation, right? That's what we were
Exactly.
watching. We were watching his desperation play out in front of us because at the end of the day, he's gone now, right? And the only thing that took place between the time when he wrote that email and he was happy go lucky Jim, so looking forward to the future, and him now being gone is they lost the ABK deal.
Mhm.
That's the only thing that happened to Sony because Sony was actively involved with this deal. That's the only thing that took place. So obviously, we know based off of how Japan is now involved with this that it was all or nothing for Jim. And that's why we were like, yo, how can he embarrass himself so much? Like, he's
Yeah,
still going to be running this show, and we're supposed to respect him as a leader of PlayStation. And it's clear that that's for him, it didn't matter, because if he didn't save this deal and he didn't stop it from going through, he was out because
he
it's
was out
happened,
anyways.
right? He's out. This is what happened. He failed and now he's out. Eastside Vandal, welcome, my man. He says, how
Welcome.
is Sony gonna update you on nothing? PlayStation ain't got no games.
And
He
that's the
says
truth.
Jim either jumped from a sinking ship or he got fired. I think he got fired. How do you
Yeah,
retire and they don't have a replacement selected already? Exactly. That's what we were
thank
talking about
you.
earlier. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. If he retired, he would do it in a way that leaves PlayStation in the best case scenario, right? He would you choose to retire. He wrote an email earlier in the year or earlier last year that he was happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was okay with this. He knows he's not losing Call of Duty. He knows that it's not going to be a problem. And he knows what they got working on is so exciting and so big. And obviously, he's gone now. So we know that this was not something where he was planning to retire. First of all, in that letter that he talks about it, he says that pre-COVID, like when like COVID days, right? When
Yes.
before then, when he was flying back and forth, he started in 2019 as it well. I mean, he's been with PlayStation forever on the European side, but since 2019 is when he took this over. It's only been 4 years that he took this over. And in those like pre-COVID times, he was flying around, going back and forth, doing all this stuff. Then COVID time came. Where was he? Was he still flying around back and forth? I don't think so. I don't think so. But he's using that as the reason. Come on, man. We all
They're
know that's
using
bullshit.
that as the reason. The company is using that
Absolutely.
as the reason. And you would think that they would be able to have a more polished email, right? Give us a better statement.
Yep.
Like, how stupid do you think we are? Like, to go ahead and
Well, I
and
think at this
believe
point,
this
Jim doesn't even give a
nonsense?
shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like, I
not
think for
Jim.
Jim,
I think
well, no, the
Sony,
email that
PlayStation
Jim,
needs to.
yeah, but the Jim is the one who wrote the letter about being tired of flying and doing all that shit. I
Okay,
don't
I
think he gives a
understand
shit
that, but
anymore.
at no
He's like,
point do
I'm
we
out.
think that Jimmy should be in any type of situation where he should be writing a damn letter. Like,
Well, I
that
mean,
letter should have been written for him. At this point, it's like, dude, we don't trust you. We don't even like you. All right, get to
I
step
think
in.
they're trying to
We'll
just give him
handle it
that.
from here.
I think they think in their mind that if they let him talk about why he's retiring, right? You can't say he retired and he didn't write a letter, right? Like, you need him to write a
Jimmy
letter.
can't write no more.
Jimmy can't write no more. Jimmy's not allowed. Colin Prime was good, my man. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome,
Um,
baby.
yes. So Jacob is bringing up about the bus. Remember, the bus did not come today. So Jacob says, I've also been there, taxi every day to school when I was young, and the company owning them was terrible. We were promised a new company to take over, also horrible. But now it's fixed 12 years later. That's a lot.
That's
Jacob
sweet,
says
Jacob. Thank you for bringing that
CMA's
up.
final day to get feedback is the 8th of October. I thought it was the 6th. Something something says this was the 6th. Yeah. Reach Fudge Gaming, welcome, my man. He says this is totally
Welcome.
normal. CEOs of corporations always leave a quarter of the way through their global strategy. Totally normal. Nothing to see here. That's funny. Joanna Dark, what is good, my man? Welcome,
Welcome.
welcome.
Oh
See,
my
look, he was
gosh.
dropping his kids off to school. Joanna Dark, that's a good man. Our bus didn't come for our kids, so that is
Mm-mm.
fun. That's a fun time. Joanna Dark says Sony was operating as a now company that needed the capital. What Jim Ryan did is sell at the moment and not have a good plan to adapt. Agreed, 100%. That is a big problem, because obviously we can tell, like, all of a sudden again, it's like there's like desperation sunk in. It's probably a culmination of a lot of things because my man doesn't know games. He doesn't understand games. So he's just reading um, statement sheet that says, look how much our games are making. How much is Fortnite making? How much is Call of Duty Warzone making? How much are all these games that are games as service making? Holy shit, we need to do that. Right? But it's like, dude, this is not like you don't just flip a switch and say, let's just do that. I mean, Microsoft has successful games as services right now, but it wasn't instant, right? Like Sea of Thieves grew, it got better. They stuck with it. They made changes based off of what the player base wanted. And that has grown into its own beast, a successful beast, which they're actually still innovating with. They're still pushing forward. Dude, the fact that they're going to release the solo environment where you and just like your crew is playing in the world without other people, because some people just don't want to be out in that world getting blown up by these people who've been playing this game forever, right? And who find it fun to destroy your little ass ship, right? So this is the fact that they're still moving in this direction. I mean, it shows you they're not stopping. Grounded, another one, right? Another game that was mocked and made fun of, and now look at them, huge numbers from these people. I mean, Xbox has so many games. Even Fallout 76 was a travesty. People thought it was horrible.
But
It had
that's the thing,
horrible
see,
reviews.
they've stuck through it, right? They've been
Yes.
freaking trashed, right? And pressured and said that they're out, like, that they don't know what they're doing, and they stuck through everything, and they did right by the consumer, right? What the problem and I think that with Jim B not knowing about games and being a businessman, to him, the situation was, these games are selling more than these games, right? This brings in this much money. This is what we keep. This is what we work on. This is what we invest in. And while he did that, he put PlayStation in a box where they were just making the same exact type of games. We
Yep.
used to get a nice variety from PlayStation, which we're no longer getting. Meanwhile, Xbox sticks to their plan of just making games for everyone to reach every type of audience. And that was the long-term game, right? Where yes, it took them longer. It it cost them more, right? I'm sure there were a
Yep.
lot of games that they made that barely brought anything in comparison to how much they invested in these games. But because they stuck to that, now they have this library that you can go ahead and sign up for Game Pass, and everybody will be happy in there because there's something for everyone. I
Agreed.
just think that they sat pretty, and while Xbox was down, instead of figuring out how they can expand and become bigger, what they did is they got cocky and they continue on their path, acting as if Xbox was never going to be a competition and as if they never matter. While all these things are happening right in front of them, you see them buying the studios. You see the moves that they're
Yep.
making. It was written on the wall,
Well,
right?
this is the thing. They saw the studios being bought, but they thought that Xbox being who they were, even if you buy studios, they still were going to produce garbage, right? That's what they thought in their mind. What they didn't account for was for Satya Nadella to come and say that he is all in on gaming. They did not account for them going ahead and spending $8 billion on Bethesda. They're out here paying their chump change for Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop, and then they're starting to bid for Starfield, and then they see Microsoft get in there like, okay, well, we're gonna win because Bethesda's already given us two, we're gonna do it. And then Microsoft just buys the mother effing building and
That had to be a
owns Bethesda.
mind-blowing moment. Can you imagine sitting there pretty? Because the reality of it is that they were on top of everything. They had everything, everything at the palm of their hands. They control everything. And the
Yep.
thing is, I talk about action and reaction. That action made Phil, right, go ahead and start spending that money. And this is why they're in the situation they're in today.
And now they have a Microsoft that's backed by Satya, and I'm sorry, they have an Xbox that's backed by Satya and Microsoft, where they have now the free reign to take the cash reserves that they've had and take $69 billion of that to go buy Activision. That's the
Mhm.
largest investment anyone has ever made in gaming. And it's Microsoft and Xbox who did that. And this is just the start. And that's why PlayStation doesn't know what the F to do. Um, Mr. Jonah
Good
Dark
morning,
says
Chin.
this could also be Sony Japan being traditional and Jim tired of trying to pivot them. So Joanna Dark brings a good point, right? We don't know the inner workings of what's actually happening there. Maybe Jim is saying, like, yo, we need to invest into these, games as a service. We need to get outside of our box because we need to grow forward. And maybe Japan's like, bro, that's not what made us, and that's not who we are, and we're not going to waste money on that. And that could be an internal conflict constantly banging heads. I get that.
I get
But
that.
either
Now,
way,
this is
let remember
go
Phil
ahead.
Spencer was at a crossroads, right? Where they were going to get rid of Xbox. And Phil
Yes.
Spencer went ahead and won his fight, right? He convinced Satya that it made sense to invest in a third place company and to make moves to take them to the next level. Whereas Jim, top dog, number one console out there, and he couldn't do it. So even if that's the
Businessmen,
case,
right? That's
it's
the
a failure on
biggest
his part.
selling point, right? So this is the thing, and this is why I think we need to pay attention to these things. We should have seen this coming, that this was gonna play out the way that it did. Now, I understand that maybe Jim was trying to pivot, but I'm not so sure because the new guy that's stepping in, what is he saying? Mobile games are the future, right? That
Which is what
doesn't sound
Xbox
like
has been
somebody who
saying
wants to stick to the
forever.
same ways and the same things that they had going on. It sounds
Agreed.
like somebody who's ready for what's modern, what's new, and to give into the future and go ahead and grow in that direction.
Well,
So
especially
I
remember
don't
that Japan is very mobile first,
Mhm,
right? That's well, out there, mobile is king, right? Out
exactly.
there, consoles do not sell like they do over here, right? So when Japan looks at the numbers and I would argue that they are going the right direction because as much as we are afraid, right? So I think console gamers they get really afraid of this idea that the companies are going to focus on mobile. Like that's not how it works, right? Like that's not the case. They're going to focus on mobile, but by focusing on mobile meaning they want to implant themselves into the mobile market, which means that they're going to find ways to bring their games to mobile. But that's not going to mean that they're going to not make the big AAA games, right? Like Sony's not going to stop doing that. Xbox is not going to stop doing that.
And also, I
But what
don't
it
think that it means in any way that they're gonna stop making systems. That's another thing, right?
no, for sure. I
Like,
mean,
they're not gonna stop doing that either.
yeah, I think there'll always be a box that you can buy that goes under your TV, for sure.
Yeah, I just think that the way that maybe they go about the box will evolve,
Yes, especially
whether
with
it's
hybrid consoles. We do know Xbox's plan on a hybrid console where you have, whatever power comes in the box, you know, native, it's going to be amplified and evolved over time by the power of the cloud. And it's funny because now I can say that and not not feel like a fool. When before the
Yes.
whole thing of power of the cloud, it was a meme, right? They were making fun of the power of the cloud. But now that we have a game like Flight Simulator, which is powered by the cloud, I think we're able to move forward with that. Um, Now, Joanna Dark says, I personally think Jim didn't inform his stakeholders about the original deal. And then when he overplayed his card and knew he messed up, he dragged their reputation to save face. I mean, that's very, very possible, man. He obviously again, he was desperate, bro. Like desperation, people do crazy shit when they're desperate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Big Boy Mike says, I truly think that by Sony having to do a hard reset, wait, I truly think that by Sony having to do a hard reset in the middle of the generation, they will lose mind share and it will sadly be on and PlayStation and Xbox One situation for PlayStation. Hashtag PlayStation has no games. Yo, you know what's funny? When when that hashtag was going around for Xbox, Xbox actually did have games. They just didn't have,
The
huge
big
amounts of
yeah.
AAA bangers at that point, but they still were coming out with games every year. Even in 2022, right? They didn't have the big AAAs, but Xbox released their games in 2022. PlayStation literally has no games outside of
And
outside
it's
of
still not a
Spider-Man.
thing.
It's crazy.
It's such a
Jacob says
big
if
deal,
Jim
though. It makes you wonder, what are they doing in there? Like, and again, we see the hesitation to move forward, right? Because they don't know what direction to take. So it's kind of like, what's happening in these meetings? What are these studios doing? Just sitting there doing nothing? Like, this is the
well,
time with everything that's taking place for you guys to get us hyped up about the PlayStation. This is the time for them to say, "Look, this is the plan," or "This is what we're working on." And they just I don't know, I'm hoping this new guy goes ahead and makes the changes that are necessary for them to stay afloat, but it's not looking good.
Fark you, what is up, my man? Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, love.
No, maybe I completely agree because I think like they had everything and they're somehow letting like you're physically seeing it, like you're just watching everything start to like slip out of their hands. The narrative is shifting. The PlayStation fanboys are being more desperate. You got places like IGN that are losing their minds for whatever reason because they know they've invested so
Yes,
much time into PlayStation and giving Xbox so much shit that if the tables turn and Xbox becomes more dominant, they're gonna have a hard time rebounding because the Xbox fans
they
are
are.
pulling away from IGN. So
They will have a
they
lot of
are
relationships to build. Like, that would be, and
agreed.
they've said so much, they took it so far. This was a Jim Ryan situation with IGN as well. Like, they went ahead and they doubled down on everything. They were acting very loose. It's been a very weird year for people that, like, run these companies and are doing these things. Like, what's in the water? What are they drinking? Like, guys, that's no way to behave. You never know when you're gonna need something or you're gonna need someone, and they went and they did it so badly on Xbox and their fans. Like, what are you gonna do now if PlayStation can't figure this out?
Maybe turn the mic down a little bit more towards you.
Yes.
Yeah, like that. That should
Better?
be a little better. Yeah, it should be. Um, Agreed 100%, baby. Timmy says FTC still trying to block the deal, so Sony could still be okay if FTC wins, which I doubt. Yeah, so the FTC can't win. It's impossible for it to happen at this point. This is not like they went and just submitted a request to, stop the deal and then it was just like okay or no, right? They had the trial. Like they had the trial that they would have had. There's no merit to it. They didn't win any part of it. It was completely shut down, right? So the FTC is just doing what the CMA was trying to do, which is just to stay relevant, just to keep it like it's going. Their trial is like after the closing date. Xbox is going to be well forward with this deal, already owning Activision for months at that point. And that's an even bigger hurdle for the FTC. It's one thing to stop them from joining. It's a whole nother thing to try to convince a judge why they need to break apart the company, right?
And this is
So,
I don't understand this, and this is a lot of freaking loyalty. Um, Timmy, yes, I agree. Like, what are they doing? They keep trying to block this situation, right? And then they're gonna try to break it apart. Like, if you couldn't convince them to not let them merge, right? To not let this go through, what makes you think, right, that you're gonna be able to convince them to now split it up after making the decision that, this can happen?
idiotic.
Not only that, but you embarrassed yourself in court, like,
Yo, it was
horribly.
so embarrassing, bro.
What kind
That
of,
court display
argument
was
are you gonna come
ridiculous.
in now? Like, what are you gonna say?
Yep. They had experts, they had all the stuff already. That's what I'm saying. Like, this wasn't just a random denial. This was a full-on trial. Like, it was an actual court, you know, long ass fucking thing. And they lost. And that's just it. Joanna Dark says, I also think that PlayStation got complacent and didn't see Xbox's aggressive moves panning out. No one did. No one did. All those PlayStation fanboys who just kept mocking the idea, even like they could not. That's how stupid they are, bro. Like they couldn't see a future where these companies' games were going to start releasing at a normal cadence. Every year we had to deal with them saying, "Oh, where's your games? Where's your games?" It's like they're being made. They're being made, my
It's
man.
crazy how
What do
they
you think
couldn't
is gonna
comprehend
happen?
what was taking place.
Yeah, dude. You know how many
It
studios they
blows
bought
your
that
mind.
they were finishing other games when they got bought. Like they didn't get to make the games until after. Like, come on, man.
And
They're
they're
just so
buying big
stupid.
studios that can make amazing games. Like, how did you not see this?
Yeah, and they're
It's
taking studios
ridiculous.
that had the potential to make amazing games. Because I'll tell you right now, when you look at compulsion games, right? They made that game Contrast back in the day. It came out on PlayStation Plus for, I believe, the PlayStation 4 on launch or right early on. They made which was an okay game. They made We Happy Few, which it was a kickstarted game that they got a little overwhelmed with because people started putting a different idea of what the game was going to be based off of the way they were marketing it, right? It wasn't supposed to be this big story driven game. It's supposed to be like randomly procedural generated, and it was supposed to be a different type of game. After all the feedback, they shifted gears and they focused on the story, but it was, it's disjointed because you have the procedural part and the story part, but the story part was wild, like the happy pills, and that you take them and you see everybody smiling, but if you're not on them, you see the real people. Like all that idea was insane, but they were small, tiny company trying to make that happen. Now they got big boy Xbox dollars behind them. South of Midnight looks
Oh my gosh.
effing insane. It
It
looks
does.
so amazing. I cannot wait to see more of that game. Joanna Dark says Sony was like the Warriors against LeBron, and then my boy LeBron came back from a 3-1 and took them out. Facts. Those are facts 100%. Eastside Vandal says, how do you climb up the corporate ladder for 26 years only to make it to CEO for 4 years and then retire? It makes zero sense. Eastside, facts, bro. On top of everything else we've been saying, this is the biggest thing that just doesn't register and doesn't make any sense. You hustled so long, you finally reached the pinnacle. You snuffed out the last CEO. This wasn't Sean Layden didn't retire and then they picked you. You did some shady, dirty shit behind the scenes to take our man Layden out. And guess what? What goes around comes around,
Comes
bitch.
around,
Because now
baby.
you is out, son. You are out, and it's an
Full
embarrassment.
circle.
Because our boy Sean Layden, his legacy was intact. He just disappeared. But everything he did, everybody knows what he did, and they still put respect on his name. you will be forgotten, my man. And you won't, no, no, no. You won't be forgotten. You'll always be remembered as the fool who didn't do shit for PlayStation
He
except put
really
them on a
didn't,
road
though.
of problems.
He just continued with what was there, and then he went ahead and tore it apart. That's what he did,
Absolutely.
and now he's
Absolutely.
out.
100%. So Jacob brings this up, and we were going to bring it up as well, which I'm glad he brings it up. So there was he says, have you seen the new article about Sony Studios being concerned and not feeling well about making gas games? Well, it takes the new CEO, if max around 6 years, the beginning of the PlayStation 6 era, to change things around to make new games. So yes, I did see this, Jacob, and this is a big thing. I mean, obviously we didn't need to read this to know this to be the case, right? It's clear that he was trying to pivot the studios to make these gas games. The easy way to know is because he said 10 to 15 gas games were going to come from internal studios. They barely have that many fucking studios. You know what I'm saying? Like, that means they had every single one of their teams trying to pivot to make these games. And
Which
then you
was
go ahead and
stupid to
spend,
begin with. How are you gonna start with so many? That's how you know that they're just trying to figure out if something will save them, if something will hit. If you
yep.
know that you have great studios, if you know what you're capable of doing, and you go ahead and you say, let's invest our money properly, right? Let's go ahead and let's invest in one or two of these games, right? Let's make them right. These are gonna be a freaking hit, right? Go ahead, win it, do it. Now, invest on something else because you guys need a lot more. Again, you put yourself in this box where, yes, we love The Last of Us, we love Spider-Man, we love these games where we can connect with these characters, but we need a lot more than that. So you guys have a lot to do. Invest your money right. I feel like the dumbest investment they made was going ahead and buying Bungie. Like, what were you guys thinking? You don't even have exclusivity to their games. Yet you're out there paying all these other companies for their freaking games to be exclusive or to be kept from Xbox. Yet you spend hella money to buy Bungie and their games are not even exclusive to you. It makes no sense.
And they're running in there and going and taking your best studios and telling them that what they're working on is not
It's
good
not good
enough.
enough.
And that's crazy to me. Naughty Dog is one of the greatest. Just just is
In
what it is.
general, not
One
just
of
in
the
PlayStation,
greatest
just
developers that
yes.
exist. And you're gonna walk into their doors and say, "You know that Factions game that you're working on? You know, the one that you released on the original version of your game and people were loving it back then? Yeah, you don't know what you're doing with that shit, so that's gonna get shut down, and you're either gonna rework it or it's canceled. Like, that's crazy. First of all, Bungie can't even consistently have a fan base with Destiny that's happy with the fucking game. Destiny is
Exactly.
constantly getting
So how does
slandered
it make
by its
sense for
players.
you to take them and say, "Tell us what to do. Go ahead
Like,
and
that's
leave
crazy.
our company." It's
That makes
stupid.
no sense, dude. It makes no sense. None whatsoever. Jonah Dark says the real reason Jim retires because him and Sarah Cardwell of the CMA were cupcaking and he can't do it when he's traveling 24/7. Bro, I'm sorry,
He
man.
wish.
I don't think Jim's getting cupcaked by anyone
Jim ain't
anytime
got game
soon, my
like
man.
that.
I mean,
Can you
he might got the
imagine?
pocket for it, but I don't know. That's a that's a big issue. Jacob says he had a wonderful weekend. Visited my
Oh,
dad and wife's new house at the sea, 30 minutes away from the sea. That's beautiful. Wonderful view.
that's
They
awesome.
will pick up a dog in 2 weeks, our second dog after having no dog for 2 years. Oh, that's cool, man. Glad you had a good
Aw.
weekend. We also had a great weekend with our kid's birthday. It was a fun time.
Yes.
Um, Timmy says it's all about baby steps, like the gameplay in the background. Hey, so baby, you saw that game, right? Baby steps with that grown ass
No.
man baby who he's
Yes,
such a
yes, yes,
hobo
yes.
at home, and you have
Go
to like
forward,
make
yes.
his leg.
Yep.
Man, that's such a
That's where they're at right now.
like, dude.
That
How
was
can
awesome,
you
Timmy.
listen? That game is okay to exist, right? If like Annapurna wants to make that game for themselves, dope. You don't put that shit on your PlayStation main
Mhm.
stage, like, and start your conference with it. Like, look, be excited for our future. We got baby steps coming. Come on, man. That's embarrassing.
That's
That's
the
embarrassing.
problem. That should have been one of just so many. That should have been one of the ones that we would be
Yeah.
like, was that pigeon game that we saw?
From
And
Nintendo,
was it
the
at
Pigeon Beat game or
yes, with
whatever.
the
I
yes.
don't know the name
So
of
it's
the game.
like there, and you're like, "Okay, well, that's extra," that may be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah.
But that's how that game should have been in that showcase, not a, showstopper,
Yeah,
opener,
not
beginning,
to start your
whatever the
show.
hell that shit was.
Xbox started their show with Fable. You started your show with baby steps. Come on, man. That's wild. Eastside Vandal says, "Why you showing baby steps? You're killing me. It's too early." Listen, we gotta wake you up. It's like a shot of coffee in the morning. You know what I'm saying? You see
Yeah,
that, and that just
right?
wakes you up. Like, what is happening to me?
This
Jacob
is
says,
old
"YouTuber called
perspective. If you feel like you're maybe having a rough day, PlayStation has this game coming. So,
yeah, there's
no matter
always
how
something
bad
worse
shit
going
is
on in the world." Oh my god. A YouTuber Jacob says a YouTuber called Andy Pants TV made a video talking about PlayStation failed to censor docs and FTC versus MS trial. The Horizon Forbidden West and Tulu budget was seen, and if you take these numbers and how much the games cost, PlayStation is taking a loss. Yeah. Oh no, for sure. I mean, we definitely saw how much money they're spending on these games. That's why Call of Duty was such a big deal for them, because if they don't have Call of Duty is the one that's funding these other games. And the problem
yeah,
with PlayStation is they know they're in a catch 22, right? They're like damned if they do, damned if they don't, because they can't afford to make the games that they make. Okay. They can't afford it. It's too much money and they don't get the return that they want from it. But they can't afford to not make the games because those are the only games that the hardcore PlayStation fans show up for. And without the hardcore PlayStation fans showing up for those games, you can't build the casual audience to go buy your PlayStation, right? So you have to have the hardcore pushing your system so that the casuals will think that that's the system that makes sense to buy.
yeah,
Again, we know that about 80 million of PlayStation owners are casual gamers who are just
they're not
buying.
buying the
And I don't
game.
mean casual like they don't play games. Casual gamers meaning they're not hardcore PlayStation fans. They're just buying the console that's in the zeitgeist, the one that people are talking about. They want to play Call of Duty, they want to play Madden, they need a console. All their friends are talking about PlayStation, so they buy a PlayStation. If all their friends were talking about Xbox, then they would have bought an Xbox, right? So you're talking like 80 million people who don't really give a shit where they play, right? So coming forward is when we're going to start to see the changes as the narrative starts to shift. Joanna Dark says, as a longtime Nintendo fan, I am just sitting back with my drink and enjoying the fall of Sony. LOL. I
Cheers.
just hope the next PS CEO rights the ship. I got to tell you, I am in that boat. I want Sony to be strong, because if Sony is capable of making the games they make from their poor ass position, right? Imagine what they can do if they were banking, right? If they didn't have to worry about every game hitting because they had a big day. That's why I'm so, and I know people or whatever, but I'm so on board with the idea of PlayStation getting bought, either Amazon or
Mhm.
Apple. And the reason I say them is because they're the only people who can afford it. Okay. But they need someone PlayStation needs someone who has the bank sitting in the background, that if something don't go right 100%, they're not gone, right? It's not
They
over.
cannot compete with Xbox the way that they're rolling in money right now. They cannot. The amount of studios that they have, and again, that wheel already started spinning. They caught up, right? So the problem that we're having is that the little money that PlayStation has to invest is never gonna dig them out of that hole. The only thing that can happen is that PlayStation gets bought, that Sony gets bought, and they have this newfound money, and they can go ahead and invest in their studios, the ones that they already have, and go ahead and start producing the game, all right? Buy some new studios that are worth having and going ahead and getting that wheel going. I feel like it's gonna take them some time, even if they were bought. But the first step will have to be for those funds to come in. They don't have the money to go ahead and compete, at least not long term.
Facts. 100% agreed. 100% agreed. Eastside Vandal says, Doodle to be free. Exactly. PlayStation was being cocky, resting on their
Mhm.
laurels. Money hatting Starfield, woke smug the dragon. Exactly. They did. They awoke a beast, man. I honestly I could just imagine, Todd calling Phil like, hey, listen, they're trying to get Starfield. All right. And Phil's like, get the fuck out of here. We can't let this happen. Going to
Yeah,
Satya, like, listen, dude, like, it doesn't make sense. Bethesda cannot choose us to let us have Starfield or to ruin their deal with PlayStation to get Starfield because they can't afford it. Okay. We need to buy the building. We
yep.
need to buy the building. And they did. And I think after that conversation, Satya was like, Phil, listen, do you,
Do
bro.
what you gotta
Get
do.
what you need. Let's build this. Let's make it happen. And I can't see it any other way. Shintaro, what is good, my man? Good morning, my friend.
And guys,
Timmy
Starfield
says
will not be what it is today if it wasn't because it got bought. Let's remember this game
100%.
was supposed to come out 2 years ago, right?
Yep.
Without the time and the money that was
Yep.
given to them by Xbox, they would not have been able to produce the game that they did. And had
100%.
again, had they not bought Bethesda, this would have been a PlayStation exclusive.
Absolutely. And that game would have came out 2 years ago and it would have been
Yes.
nowhere near what it is. So I
Nowhere
can tell you
near,
right
but
now,
it would have really caused a lot of damage for Xbox if that game was a
100%.
PlayStation
100%.
exclusive, regardless of how it have came out. But the
For
fact
sure.
that they had the time and the money because of Philly Phil, that was just the cherry on top.
Absolutely agreed. 100%. It's almost shocking. I had a tweet that I put out because IGN was, I'm sure you guys all saw it, but they had that video clip that Peter Oval had going around where the I don't even know his name, but that kid who had the scandal with Xbox where he was talking shit about Xbox wearing a PlayStation, chain. He literally said that IGN better give Spider-Man 2 a 9 or above. If they don't give it a 9 or above, then he wants to have words with whoever reviewed it, right? And obviously Brian Altano and Max Scoville. Actually, you can kind of hear Max like kind of like, wait, hold on. Like don't talk like that, but he didn't say don't talk like that, right? He said hold on. But then Brian came in, try to make light of it. Like, oh, that's gonna happen anyway. We're gonna come on and we're gonna have the reviewer talk about it anyway. And but the kid is obviously not talking about that, right? He's talking about having words like fighting words, right? Like it was his way of saying we're gonna have a fight, like fight me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that was he's implying in that. Like, how dare you give Spider-Man less than a 9, right? So I quote tweeted that
See,
and
money
I
went in.
talked about well, I just but I talked about how that's ridiculous, how that shouldn't have happened. I mean, I don't that's not word for word. It's on there. You can find the tweet, but the point is that I talked to him about how like after the Starfield fiasco, like this is you think that this is the way things should be said on your show? Like you should have stopped it. And you got a lot of people obviously who support that, right? So there's tons of people supporting that tweet, but you got the people still in there like talking about how what fiasco? This is the game's a 7. It's mid. It's blah blah blah. Then on the same another person write, "Oh, it's a 7. They said it's good." Then the person's right, "Oh, that's trash." Like, are you kidding me? Like, are you fucking crazy? Starfield is in no way, shape, or form trash. The game is amazing. Whether you like that type of game or not, that's a personal preference, but you can't be blinded and say that that game is trash. There's no way. There's just no way. And there's absolutely nothing about it that's trash. Graphics are amazing. The gameplay, the gunplay, fucking Bethesda doing this type of gunplay on their own. Come on, man.
Honestly, I
Amazing.
don't even think you need to like this type of game to enjoy Starfield, though. Like,
No, you
it
don't, but
doesn't
it's you
need to be
purposely
your
are
kind
hating
of
on it. That's
game. There's so much
exactly
in there, you can literally do whatever you want. That's it.
100%,
And it's
100%.
ridiculous that they're talking as if, first of all, the game has not even been reviewed or, like, played. Like, what makes you think that this game is getting a 9, right? Or that
From a
should be
preview.
getting a 9.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you play the game before you say what the score should be?
Yeah.
It's
Like, it's asinine, but
crazy.
that's how these PlayStation heads think. They think they can say whatever they want, right? Like, it doesn't matter. They can just say it and be done with it. Like, come on, man, get on my face. Timmy says, "It's always the way the company or team at the top always thinks they will stay there and get complacent and don't change to improve and then end up failing and falling behind."
Yes.
You know, that's so true. Like, this was the first what people forget, like, this is the first generation that it didn't flip-flop, right? Normally, it's one's on top and then the other one goes on top. Like, they normally flop back and forth. But this is the first time that PlayStation kept it 2 generations in a row, right? So, PlayStation 4, they won that generation, and PlayStation 5, they're leading that generation. Now, there are reports out there that are letting us know that even though they're leading, they're not doing as good as they did in the PlayStation 4 generation at the same time. They are millions behind where they were with the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 5 is not going to reach the heights of the PlayStation 4.
That's a
I tell you
problem, by
right
the way.
now. Say that again?
That's a problem for them because, again, they
It is
need
because they
that
rely
money
on
to
it.
come in. And this is the
They
thing, they
rely on the
continue to
console
make
sales.
a lot of freaking hardware. They need to stop spending the money on all this shit.
Well, we know that without their console, then the consumer has choice, and they're afraid that their games are not good enough. I mean, let's be real, okay? Let's just call it what it is. PlayStation games, when they release them on the PC, have not popped off.
No.
None of them. Placed the PC fan base who you think will be chomping at the bits. That's what PlayStation thinks. They think, "Oh, our games are so amazing. The PC fans are going to be chomping at the bits. When we release this game, we're going to get 15 million sold just on PC." Nah, fam. That's not how it played out. That's not how it works. They are not dying to play your game. If you don't bring them the game when it's released like everybody else, then they won't support you. They won't. Okay. Same way it happens on Xbox. You know how many times the game that had the 1 year exclusive or 2 year exclusive, whatever, finally comes on Xbox? Yeah, there's a certain amount of people who are pumped, but a lot of times those games don't go crazy because you already burned us, right? It's an old game. We're moving on. There's new games coming out every single month. Why do we have to stop to play your old ass fucking game now that you decided to bless us with its presence? Go fuck yourself, right? Like that's just the reality of what it is. Like, I don't care, you know what I'm saying?
Let
And
'em
that's my
see.
problem.
It's true,
Um,
though. They've
yeah, dude.
released listen, the game is amazing, but they've released The Last of Us about 800 times. Like,
Like, what the
guys,
fuck, man? And then you made us fucking buy it again instead of just upgrading us? Like, you guys are so poor, bro. Like, it's
yeah.
annoying. Like, it's annoying that PlayStation is so fucking broke that they constantly have to nickel and dime us, and you're number 1, dude. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? You don't have the right plan. Yes, sure. Your PlayStation is the number one brand, but you don't have the right plan because you're not making money. You're
If
not
you're not
making
making
money.
money, that brand is not going to continue.
There's nothing that Sony can do, nothing at all, to ever reach the heights of a Microsoft, an Apple, or an Amazon or a Google. Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
They're always gonna be the company that managed to have the top system, but not grow. Not grow. They're still so cheap in they literally like Xbox could have bought them instead of buying Activision. Like the dollars are that close between Activision and
That's
Sony.
crazy,
Activision
dude.
sells games on Sony's platform, and that company is worth almost the same as Sony proper. Sony proper, not PlayStation. Sony. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, you know what blows my mind is how many of these people follow this broke ass company and not think that there's a future where the rich company will actually invest and show people how shit gets done. And guess
That's the
what? We're
thing.
living that life now, bro. It's
And it
our
blows my
time
mind
now.
the fact that
Microsoft pulled up with the bank. Go ahead, baby.
it blows my mind the fact that people don't think that PlayStation needs to get bought in order to make it. There's no way, dude, they can compete where they are right now.
Outside of that,
Yes,
I don't see them competing
they're
with it.
sold so many systems, but their games, again, do the math, they're not selling.
Not in comparison to how many people own the system. It's not like
No,
Nintendo. People give Nintendo all this shit, but the top selling games at Nintendo are not 20 million.
no.
They're not 25 million. They're fucking crazy. Well, I don't even know what I think Mario Kart is like at 65 million.
Dude,
It's insane.
they never drop their prices. They got it like that.
Facts. They do
Go
have it
try to buy
like that.
Mario
That's
Kart right
facts.
now. That shit is $60.
It's
And now they
crazy, but
have a
it's
deal
true.
with freaking Xbox for 10 years?
Dude,
Yo.
and when they launch the new Switch, you don't think that they're gonna
Mhm.
finally give us the new Mario Kart, and you don't think people are gonna lose their fucking minds that they finally get to play a new Mario Kart? Yo, the new Switch is gonna go crazy when it comes out. But talking about that, thinking about the numbers and stuff like that, right? Of how
Yes.
much. Let me read Eastside, and I'm gonna bring up Clobrill's um image that he made with all the amounts of players that some of these games have. But Eastside says Jim Ryan was planning on third party and Phil bought those third parties. Jim was like, oh snap. Jim didn't have a plan B. Facts.
Mic drop right there.
150%. Facts,
Yes.
bro. That's exactly what he was relying on. He figured that everybody was going to come to him, but he slowly lost all those people, bro. Slowly, they just kept going away. He had Sega in his back pocket. They bounced. They bounced because nothing worked out. PlayStation is like an abusive spouse. Like they'll just take from you,
Yes.
but they don't give, right?
Yes.
So Sega was in bed with them and they weren't getting anything back. They weren't being satisfied by PlayStation. So they left to the big daddies on this
And what did
side
they
over at
say? What did they
Microsoft.
say?
Say it again.
What did they say when they
What did they
left?
say? I don't remember. I just
Xbox
lost
is
my train
nice
of
to
thought.
us.
Xbox is nice to us. That's right. Xbox treats us better. That's the way they went down.
Dude, that's
Um,
crazy, but that's to show you, okay, that line means so much. That's to show you the relationship that they have. Obviously, they've used the power of, like, look at how many systems we sell, right? But let's
yep.
go back to the numbers for Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Like, that was
Dude,
mind-blowing.
3 million?
This is why they're all leaving.
And how long has that game been out? We haven't gotten any updates.
No.
They didn't hit 5 million. They didn't hit 10 million. It's some clown ass shit. It's some
It
clown ass
is.
shit. Being part of PlayStation's base, you're fucked no matter which version you are. If you're first party, your games are not selling in any real number. Yeah, you're selling because you have so many people that your small percentage still equals a decent size, but none of those people give a shit about your game. All those PlayStation fans that you think you're talking to, you're not. You're only talking to that subset of fans. All those 100 million people, they're not there for you, bro. They're there for Call of Duty. And who owns Call of Duty? Oh, oh shit. Oh shit. Microsoft, baby. Listen, as people start
Ah,
understanding that Call of Duty is owned by Xbox, just like marketing can trick people into thinking that games were only coming to PlayStation, you don't think
yes.
that there's going to be people who just think that, oh shit, Call of Duty is on Xbox only now because they own that shit? Bro, you're gonna see it, man. It's not, listen, obviously, it's not gonna be a flip of the switch, right? It's not gonna be deal closes, everybody leaves
Yeah.
PlayStation, but you will see the decline of PlayStation. It will happen. Not that I want it to happen. I don't want them to go away. I do want to humble those motherfuckers to be
Yeah,
fair,
for
right?
reals,
So
for
just like
reals.
to be dead ass. I do want to
I know
humble
your
those motherfuckers.
place.
I want those numbers to drop, right? I want them to drop so they can understand that they're not gods, right? We need them to get out of that PlayStation 3 $600 console, go get a second job to afford it mindset, right? We need them to get put down. They need to bend the knee to Phil and understand that they got rid of their guy while Phil's just getting bigger and better, baby. He's just making more and more moves. His
Yo,
legacy, he got stacks
yep,
and stacks to sit on top of, baby.
his legacy is going to be insane. The things that
It
Phil
is.
has accomplished in his amount of time there, and he's still not done. Dude, it's mind-blowing. He will be talked about as the person who changed the outcome of Xbox. He
Absolutely.
changed everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to get to this one by Sith, but before we do, because we were talking numbers, just to put things in perspective, right? Xbox has way less consoles sold, right? Way less consoles sold. Okay. But to put into perspective, because their games are everywhere and they're smart enough to realize that they don't need to tie their games to one box, they want it to be available to as many players as possible. Xbox, PC, mobile, cloud, everywhere. You have Starfield right out the gate, right out the gate, 10 plus million players. Okay, right out the gate. And that number is just going to continue to grow and grow. You got a game like Ghostwire Tokyo, which basically sold dog shit when it was an exclusive to PlayStation. I don't even think it did a million, if that. And it's now on Xbox in Game Pass, over 6 million players. Okay. Just because, and it came out a year later here, but now we were able to lift it up, right? Grounded, grounded, that game that people mocked, made fun of, thought it was a joke. Over 15 million players. Let that sink in. Over 15 million. Flight Simulator. Who wants to go on an airplane? Well, over 12 million people have. Okay. Over 12 million people. Okay. And not only that, but that game was the literal basis of why Xbox is looking at taking their next console and make it a hybrid console where you have power in the box, but you have power in the cloud, because there is nothing that has ever been released that can touch Flight Simulator's visual presentation. It's impossible. That game looks amazing, and they mapped out the world. The world,
That's crazy.
my man. The world, baby. The world.
The
You
world.
understand? Like, it's not like
The
like
world.
a small version of the world. You could literally fly to the Himalayas or fly to the pyramids, and those things are there. Okay, you
Yeah,
can fly to your crib. You can go to your house. You can just fly. Woo! Oh, look at my house right there.
that's
Guys, it's
mind-blowing,
mind blowing.
dude.
It's mind blowing. Now, it's not for me because I don't want to fly like that. But the new version next year that we're getting, Flight Simulator 2024, where I could do jobs, I can take up fires and put them out. I
Oh
can
my god,
start
the
helping
racing?
build shit. Racing, Come on, man. I'm
Yes.
in. I'm in. That's gonna be super dope. Uh State of Decay 2. Understand this. This game came out so long ago. 2018, I believe. And again, a game that was not fully taken advantage of at the time. They didn't upgrade it the way we thought it would be, but they never stopped upgrading it. They visually upgraded years after, did massive upgrades. We literally just got a new expansion, a new huge expansion came to this game. Over 11 million players. Over 11 million players, dude. State of
That's
Decay?
crazy.
Come on, man. Then you got the big dog. Forza Horizon 5. Over 30 million players.
Woo.
30 million. Wild. We just got the numbers for Minecraft Dungeons. Remember, Minecraft, they don't even put it on this list because Minecraft has over 140
Holy shit.
million active players every month. 140 million active players every single month. What? Yo, every game PlayStation has ever released combined is not 140 billion every month active players. Not even in the stratosphere. But its little baby brother, Minecraft Dungeons, again, because Microsoft knows it's smarter to release these types of games everywhere,
Of
over
course.
25 million players. They announced 25 million players and they said, we ain't doing shit no more for this game. We're moving on. But still, 25 million players who are still actively playing this game. Another big dog, again, that nobody thought was going to be a big thing. And matter of fact, it was mocked and said, look at what they're doing to Rare. Look at what Microsoft is doing to Rare. Rare has made Sea of Thieves, and they have over 30 million active users. 30 million. Again, they are still continuously building on this game. They just released the third part of their Monkey Island expansion, which
Dude, that's the thing. They don't stop. They
don't.
go ahead
They
and they
don't.
put in the
It's
work.
never
But
enough.
let's not act like these games were just out and they were like, okay, well, this is just a fairy dust that popped on it. Like they go ahead and if people are not happy with it, they keep working on it. Like talk about like
Absolutely.
being like old school, buy a game, that's what you got, and that's what it is. They go ahead and they put in the work beyond making the game. They go ahead and they listen, they adjust, they fix. It's crazy. You have to love what you do that much and be able to go ahead and give it that attention and love so that everybody else can love it too. Some of these games didn't
100%.
start like this. They made
No,
them
they all
stick.
in. They just kept growing them and kept putting in the time and energy. And this is the biggest thing. And this is what Jim don't get. And this is why they're going to fail. Xbox don't force these people. Xbox is not forcing Rare to make Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is made by Rare and Rare wants to make it. They want to continue to make that game. The moment they decide they no longer want to make it, then they will pass it on to somebody else. Just like State of Decay 2, right? State of Decay 2, they moved on. They're making State of Decay 3. But Microsoft knows that that fan base is still there. So they have another studio who wants to work on it. And that's why you have this humongous expansion, high quality, nothing but praise I've been seeing about it, being made by Wushu Studios. And they put that out as, again, more content. And they didn't say this is the last piece of content that's ever come in State of Decay 2. No, they're still doing it. They're still making more while State of Decay 3 is in full production and they're going ahead and giving us something special there, right? So these are huge things, man. Think about this one, which was the laughing stock of Bethesda, Fallout 76. The game that released to mockery and horrible reviews has slowly adapted, has slowly changed. You know why Bethesda is a good fit for Xbox? Why they work? Because they have the same principles. They have the same
Mhm.
thought process. Bethesda didn't make Fallout 76 and say, well, fuck this game, I'm out, right? No,
Fuck
they
this shit,
said,
I'm
we're going to,
out.
exactly, they're going to put in the work and they're gonna make this game something special. And for all accounts, even somebody like Mr. Matty Plays went back to Fallout 76 and says that it is now a game he will wholeheartedly recommend. And this is somebody who loves Fallout, who loves those games. And now he says, now with everything they've done, this is a game that you should play. Okay. They have story content that doesn't stop. They keep making more and they keep working on making it better and better. They don't give up. That's what Xbox does. They don't give up. And that's what's ultimately going to be what Xbox is remembered for all their times
Yes,
in hustle. They never gave up. They could have left. They could have gotten taken out. They could have sold Xbox to Amazon or Apple or somebody else, but they stuck with it because of who?
because
Phil
of Philly
Spencer.
Phil.
There's a Philly Phil. Philly Phil is the person who will be going down in the history books when Xbox is number one, when it becomes the number one console, which we will do. It will get there. Mark my words, 100%. Not this generation, maybe not next generation, but they will constantly continue to work harder and get more and more on there, and it will not be able to be denied. Xbox's
Yes,
greatness will not be able to be denied, and people will come and they will flock and they will buy the console. They will be part of the ecosystem, whatever they have to do. But Xbox will be number one. Those are facts. Elder Scrolls Online, another game that people were like, just give us another Elder Scrolls. Why do we have Elder Scrolls Online? Over 22 million players. Fallout 76, over 15 million players. Fallout 76, 15 million. Elder Scrolls Online, 22 million. Okay. Big numbers, man. Big numbers. But this is the last one right here, which is my love, Halo. Halo Infinite, the game that people mock about, oh, it's whack or it doesn't have content or blah blah blah. First of all, those are all debunked, gone. The game is phenomenal. The campaign was amazing right from the rip. Multiplayer was amazing right from the rip. As a live service, yes, it did not have enough stuff there constantly coming in for the people who are obsessed with those live service type games, but they fixed that. It is now a bountiful place where there's so much content that you can continuously play, and they are up over 20 million players.
holy crap.
This is not a joke. Xbox has people who are playing these games consistently. These are people who are coming to play these games. They built these communities around these games. PlayStation doesn't understand how to build a community anymore.
That's the
They
problem. They
don't know
don't
what
they
that
don't have it.
means.
They don't have this
They can't
anymore.
even they can't even have they don't know how to build a community around their PlayStation. The only people who talk positively around PlayStation are the fanboys who are already indoctrinated from years ago, right? But there's no new blood out there saying how amazing PlayStation is. None. These are all the same freaking fools who've been constantly saying the same thing over and over again. That's the only people who are out there praising because PlayStation can't cultivate a new community. Because when they did, when they were trying to, they stopped it. They had their PlayStation, that community meeting that they did. I don't, it was a show. What was it? I forgot. I even forgot. Like Xbox has FanFest, PlayStation had, I don't know what they called it. I
Something.
don't even remember. Something. It's not even worth remembering because it's gone, right? Um, and it's just sad that that's what it kind of boils down to. Sith Lord said, "I want to know what is up with Sony wanting to destroy all the statues. That is so
Oh my
odd."
gosh,
Yeah,
Sid,
we talked
thank
about
you
that
for
on
bringing
Thursday.
that up. That blew my freaking mind.
I that this is going literally perfectly transition to this, how they don't know how to build a community. How are you gonna take people who bought statues from games that you make and you license it out to these people, gaming heads who make these statues, and tell them to destroy it, and not only destroy it, but also to cancel any orders that were already done prior to this moment? I feel that I don't know, man. Is this like the Japanese part of Sony coming in and like, no, just cut all this crap. We're gonna go in a different direction. Like it's actually could be kind of scary to wonder what they're gonna do entirely, because you would
That's what's
think that they
concerning.
wouldn't
Like, how
change
can
that
you
much.
like, these are your characters that you've created, right? You have people excited pre-ordering this. It's all made, and now you're gonna like, you want them destroyed. Like, That's crazy. Are people getting their money back? Because the other problem was that the company
Right
said,
now,
"Listen, we already
they said
gave
to go across
Sony
Sony.
their money, so you can't come to us. You gotta go to Sony to get your money." So people are out of money, no merch, no statue has been delivered, and they've been ordered to be destroyed. That should not be legal. Like, that should not be okay to do. This is bullshit.
Agreed.
How do you but
100%.
even, like, you think about it, right? These are characters that people love, and you can imagine that they love them too because these are the characters that they've made, that they've created, that carry the PlayStation name, and they want them destroyed. Like, I have a problem with it, and it's not my company, and these are not my characters. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
how are you
for
gonna
sure.
keep going like that?
Agreed 100%. Baby, get the mic a little closer to you. You're still kinda cutting in and out a little bit.
Sorry.
Um, there we go. Like, right there, that's money.
Yeah.
Um, alright, so Eastside Vandal says, "Jim failed to adapt and was counting on third party and got
Yeah,
caught
baby.
out there." Facts. He also said, "Japanese culture frowns on being dishonorable, Jimmy." That's also true.
Yes.
May that's also a good point. Maybe they said, "Listen, you better make this happen or you're out." And he went ahead and just shamed himself, and they're like, "Listen, we can't even look at you. You've embarrassed
No.
yourself." And then they sat him down and they pulled his hair and they chopped off the back of his hair. Said, "You don't deserve the little hair that you have," and just sent his ass back to England. I get it. Makes sense to me. 100%. Um, let me see here. Joanna Dark says Contrast was a nice game. It was. Eastside Vandal says Compulsion Games is that organic growth that ponies love. They should be happy to see them grow now. Facts. Joanna Dark says We Happy Few was a good game that just didn't know what it wanted to be. The scope was too ambitious for the studio. Yeah, 100%. Especially since it was after. You know what I'm saying? Like it was. They changed the scope after the response to their Kickstarter, and it's like, well, we didn't really, we weren't planning to go that big. Centauro says South of Midnight does look great.
Oh
Absolutely.
my gosh,
Big
I
man,
can't wait for
no,
that
welcome,
for
my
that game.
man. He
Welcome,
says, first
baby.
off, don't disrespect my Warriors. Oh shit. He's not good with how they lost. I see it. Uh Xbox Summer Show begin with 3 big games with 3 female leads. Fact. Eastside Vandal says Jim raised prices to $70 for all of us and bounced that piece of
Yeah.
shit. Yo, that's true. Homeboy came in and said, "You know what? We're gonna make games $70." And then I'm out. That's crazy. Well, I don't think he
That's
was
so
putting money
messed
up, but I
up.
get what you're saying.
How can we not expect Jimmy to screw us on his way out? That's just
Seriously.
the Jimmy thing to do.
Seriously.
I got Jimmy'd.
Uh yeah, you
That's in
got
the
Jimmy.
line.
God damn it.
I got Jimmy.
It's fact. Shintaro says Xbox has a lot of exclusives now, while PlayStation, on the other hand, is struggling hard because they don't have any. These are facts,
Yeah.
man. Jim said, "Fark, fark you." He says, "I don't want to imagine Jim like that. I feel traumatized. Think about it." Well, I can feel that for sure. Joanna Dark says Jim Ryan did not embrace and respect the legacy of what PlayStation built. That was
Yeah.
their difference between PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. You should never forget how you got there. 100%. Joanna Dark says Jim got money and a copy of Knack. He got game. That's
He got money. He took his
he
money
does have
and
money.
ran.
He made his money. That's true. Big boy Mike says they wanted the behemoth to compete and not get outspent by Sony. So here you go. Absolutely. 100%, excuse me. They're competing now, I'll tell you that much. Colin Prime says, I don't want Apple to buy PlayStation because the PlayStation 6 will cost us at least $1,500 to buy. Colin. No, they won't. They're not going to raise prices. They still have to compete there. They need to have somebody with dollars behind them. They
They
need
have
it.
to
PlayStation
compete, and
can't
if
survive without it,
anything,
man.
it should be easier. You know, when you got money, shit costs less. That's
Absolutely.
the crazy thing.
Absolutely. 100% agreed. Jacob says Xbox don't want to crush anyone, but if PlayStation would have continued Jim's cockiness, Xbox would have had their hands forced and crushed Xbox. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? If
That's the
Jim would
thing.
have had his way, that's what would happen, which is honestly what we don't want to do, right? We want them to all be going in and doing well so that they can compete, right? We don't want anything lopsided. We want people who are neck and neck constantly doing it. The
That's the
shit
thing,
that
though,
always
but, like,
gets
this was
me.
a live or die situation for Xbox. If Phil did not do what he did, and he didn't go out there and started buying all these studios, I don't know where they would be right now.
They
They
wouldn't
no
be here.
longer dude, you understand the fact that the pressure of, like, this game has to be delayed? It's no longer a problem because they have so many studios working on so much. Like, to
100%.
feel down like that and to say, "How are we gonna fix this?" And going ahead and fixing the problem, that says so much about you and your company. Like, dude, that's what we want, right?
100%. 100%
I don't
agreed.
know. It's just it's like that's who you want it back. Somebody who's gonna go ahead and back you, like, and give you what you need as a consumer.
Yep. To actually make you feel like you're choosing some like an entity that gives a shit about your investment.
Exactly.
Right? Like, because that's what these are. When you buy a console, it's an investment on the future, right? It's what are you going to bring to me? And when you have
Yes.
a console manufacturer who doesn't give a shit, who they don't care about what you feel and they just want to suck you dry, pause, for everything you have, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a problem. Jacob says that's why PlayStation needs to have PC day one. Yes, 100% agreed.
They
Colin
do.
says because they wait a year or two when it comes to PC and nobody cares by then. Exactly.
Exactly. Like, dude, get with the hype. Put it everywhere. And that's the thing that it was, like, mind-blowing, right? Like, they bought Minecraft, and it's like, we want every player to have it. We want it everywhere, right? We want everyone to be able to play and play together. Like, dude, that was huge. That was really like, that was very consumer friendly, and PlayStation does not have that mentality. They want to take from you as much as they can, and they figure out another way to take from you with the same freaking crap.
Agreed. And people are tired of it. T2 comic books overviews. Welcome, my man. Thank you for stopping by.
Welcome, love.
PlayStation games are overrated. I do like some of them, but they are not as good as PlayStation fans say they are. Agreed. Some of them are bangers. Some of them, not so much. Even the ones that people sweat, like, dude, I play God of War Ragnarok. I have it. I think it's fine game. I think it's a good game. I think it's way overrated. And
Way
the easiest way
overrated.
I know is that I bounced off of it. Like God of War 1, it was unique, it was new. I beat that, even though even that one, I struggled to get to the end because they were dragging it out too long, but I wanted to get to the end. Whereas this one, like the story's not as good, the graphics are the same. Like there's nothing special about it pushing me forward. So the kid is not as interesting as a character
No,
as
in the game,
Kratos. It's just
there's
not.
a lot of inconsistency when it comes to, graphics. I was so
Yeah,
annoyed because I would be
that
so
too.
into it, and then
The mic
you
closer,
see
baby.
you see some of the flaws, and you're like, "Oh, wait, hold on, this doesn't look like the rest." Like, when he went into that dream and he saw his wife, and it was so different. I was like,
Yeah,
"What the hell are they doing?"
definitely was not the same quality. Absolutely. Joanna Dark says Sony used the Xbox One X, Xbox Series X strategy of bringing their older top games over to the current gen. When Xbox did it and it was at no additional cost, the media said nobody wants old games. When Sony did it with director's cuts, people celebrated their old games. The double standard has hurt Sony because
God.
they could never do wrong, and that doesn't help consumers in the end.
Thank you for
Agreed.
saying that, Mr. John the Dark, because it's so freaking true.
Agreed. PlayStation 5, Joanna Dark continues. PlayStation 5 didn't have as much of the PlayStation 4 score bump they did last gen. Horizon Zero Dawn was not a 9 or a 10. Facts. I enjoyed it, but it was more close to a solid 8. Agreed.
Yeah.
100%. Definitely was not a 9 or a 10, like in any way, shape, or form. When Horizon Forbidden West came out, it suffered because it was never the franchise they made it out to be last gen. Exactly. Guerrilla Games needs a good narrative director. They make amazing worlds with shallow characters. 150
Yes,
per.
these characters, which is crazy because that's what we know PlayStation to be. Like they go ahead and they make you connect to these characters, and you feel like you're really in there, and you get consumed by the story. But like this bitch was a lullaby. It was like a snooze, dude. I don't
Yeah. I mean,
understand how they could go so wrong with a character.
yeah, I mean, I went back to it and played it more, and I started enjoying it more, but it wasn't because of her. She's boring as fuck. I don't understand how they thought she was the right like path to take. But
And as you mentioned
um,
before, it's like you go to do something, she's like, "Oh,
yeah, she's always
okay."
annoyed. It's like, come on, man, have some energy. Shintaro says Sega was in bed with Sony, laughing my ass off. You were funny, C-Money. Yeah, they were. Colin Prime says I loved FS16 though. Well, we love the beginning of it, but if you go to our channel and you see we did some gameplay of it, uh, how many times was it? 4 times. The
4
game
times total,
it
yes, it
overheated our
crashed.
PlayStation live on stream.
Yes.
2 different occasions, like 2 different times we played it. 4 times we had overheating
Like, we
issues.
literally on the second gameplay, it crashed, like, 2, 3 times, and we went ahead and started playing Diablo 4.
Yeah, seriously, like that's
We had to
literally what we
switch
did,
it
and
up.
it was so ridiculous. Um, Colin says, "Can't wait for the FF16 DLC and Rebirth." So Rebirth looks good. The Final Fantasy 16 DLC, I don't know what it's. I don't even know if it was announced yet or what is it because I haven't caught up with it. But I'd say we were like we were digging the story, right? Like we didn't necessarily care for the delivery of some of it, but when it's
Yes,
beautiful, it's crazy because it's like a 10 out of 10 beautiful game. It's also like a 3 out of 10 beautiful game. Like
yes.
it just flip flops so
Very
much. Like there's some moments that
inconsistent
take your breath away.
graphically.
Yep. And then others just like, what am I watching, bro? Like this is
And then also,
crazy.
like, the editing, it just needed to be edited. I feel like you can give us that same feeling without feeling like we're going into movie mode. I felt like it was movie night. We were so excited for the game, and then it was like a scene for 45 minutes, and then you get to like walk 3 steps, and here we go, another hour of just watching. I feel like they
Yeah.
can go ahead and they will really give us a beautiful story that we can connect to because it seemed like there was a nice story in there. Um, Consumed. Like, the game doesn't need to be that long, and maybe it wouldn't overheat the PlayStation and make the damn thing wanna blow up. But even, like you said, graphically inconsistent, it will have these very high highs and then very freaking low. It was the voice acting as well, it will kinda snooze you. You wouldn't feel like that passion behind it. But again, and then
Yeah.
you look at the clothing and you're like, "Oh my gosh, the way they made the leather for it and the way it moves, it was just stunning."
Agreed 100%. Agreed 100%. Mr. Geronimo Dark says, Doodle, are you ready for
Yes,
Detective Pikachu returns this week?
let's go, baby.
Detective Pikachu. I don't know. Detective Pikachu, it was interesting, but man, I really need that Switch too. I need that Switch too. Let's get some better graphics
CMoney's
going on over there.
hurting for that new Switch.
Seriously. G Maybe, welcome, my man. He says
Welcome.
tortoise and the hair coming true. Absolutely. G Maybe with the hot
Yes,
take right there. Sony has been in the lead so long, they've been on cruise control. Xbox has suddenly changed Sony's existence. Facts. Facts.
100%.
100%. Joanna Dark says Jacob Novak correct. Also, Sony has tried to make us love this franchise, and it just hasn't hit the way they thought it would. Yeah, they definitely have a bunch of marketing over there to try to make it as if she's like somebody that we should aspire to. Like be excited for her. But it's just not, and I don't know how they can ever rectify it because the game itself is a franchise now. So like you have to either have her like I don't know, get electrocuted and like have a different personality when she wakes up. You know what I'm saying? Or
Oh my
maybe
gosh,
you know how they're
that might be
clones.
perfect, see?
Maybe they clone her, right? Maybe she's dying, right? And then, one of the other characters goes and like saves her DNA or like plugs her into something, and then they clone her, and the new clone actually has a personality, right?
That
I
would be
think that's the
nice.
way. Make it happen.
Maybe she'll eat some, it's some mushrooms down the road and, you know,
For sure.
get a little
For
funky.
sure. Agreed. Jacob says Sony told them to do that. I don't understand, but I mean, people said that gaming heads are a bad place. People wait years for their orders and bad support, but destroying statues is bad, even if they're bad. Yeah, 100%. That when they were destroying the statues, it's just so stupid. It's like ridiculous. Oh shit.
I wanna see the videos and pictures. I wanna see these statues. I wanna see the warehouse. Like, I wanna see them all ready to ship out and, like, a video saying, "They won't let us do this," right?
Yeah,
That's what I want.
agreed.
And if they're gonna
Fuck you
destroy
said
it, I wanna see the smashing.
I'm sure it will come out. Farku says, I speak for all my fellow UK citizens. We don't want Jim back. Facts. I get that. I get that. Oh my god. Oh shit. Joanna Dark says, Farku, send him to Canada. Yo, that's hilarious.
They don't want him there either.
Yeah, I know. Joanna Dark says, see, buddy, the PlayStation 6 is the iPhone 15 Pro.
There you
That's
go.
hilarious.
That's where they're gonna have to
Hey,
throw their games,
15
dude.
wait, iPhones will come up, man. They're gonna keep coming out. Oh, East Side with the hit that like
Thank you,
button.
love.
Yes, please
Yes.
do so. If you haven't yet, hit the like button. And if you're just watching in the background saying, man, I could jump in, but I don't want to subscribe. Well, you should subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button and come hang
Come
with us
join
if you're
us.
having a good time. Yeah, come join us. See, Farku is right there. He said, Mr. Joanna Dark, I love it. Yeah, send him to Canada instead. We're gonna have the people are gonna be like, what happened to Jim? He's in Canada now. It started here, guys. Right now, we started it.
There you
Let's
go.
get this school to Canada. No, actually, he's too close to us then at that point.
Yeah,
I
we
don't I'm
don't want
not
him
no, I'm against
anywhere
it.
near.
I'm against it. No, he has to go somewhere else. Antarctica. Nobody would be hurt with him there. Right? I think that works. Joanna Dark says, "Whoa, CMoney, you need a timeout with all this 19 inches of sucking off you spitting. What the fuck? No more chainsaw man for you. Nah, man, chill. Chill. Six Layer says, these are simple facts and nothing new. It's just so funny how it's only now they listen to us.
Yep.
Absolutely. Jacob says, also, the director's cut doesn't include old content, but cut content. Sony's strategy actually is extenders cut. Oh, snap.
Damn.
Facts.
Damn.
Mav says, maybe because of his
Welcome.
30-year tenure, they let him bow out. But didn't I can see that. I can see that. But didn't Sean Layden also have a long time there? I don't know if it was quite as long, but yeah, I can see that. Because he was there from the beginning, right? Like he was literally there from the beginning. He obviously had a part in the success of PlayStation. Just we didn't know that he would also have a part in the downfall of PlayStation. that's the problem with it. But I get that. I get that. It makes sense. Oh my god. All right, we finally got towards the bottom here. Joanna Dark, Alloy inspires me to go to sleep. Yes.
Yes.
I don't think even death can make Alloy interesting. I think it would take an act of God. That's hilarious.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
That's
it's so
hilarious.
true.
It is so true.
But you know what
Nah,
doesn't
this
put
is
me to sleep, Mr. Joanna Dark?
uh-oh, what?
I always get this name wrong. Severance?
Severance.
Yeah.
Yo, Joanna Dark, you
I
did it.
can't wait till Friday.
Joanna
Let's
Dark,
just say
I
that.
gotta say,
But I'm
I gotta
following
thank you
through.
publicly here. Okay.
I'm on it.
Gotta thank you publicly. You brought up watching Severance. We already watched Severance. We stopped at episode 4. Okay. Because Doodle didn't want to watch it no more. She didn't have the patience. Okay.
No.
But you said to do it and to not let you down. So she actually went ahead and let us watch it. And we are now up to episode 7.
No.
And Oh,
9.
snap.
We finished
9?
8. Yes. Oh
Oh,
my
yes,
gosh.
I'm sorry, the 7, that's right, it's a 9.
Yeah, I was like,
Yes,
"See,
we're up
don't
to
fall
episode
asleep on me."
9.
I was so in it. Oh, I can't
Yo,
wait
it
till
was
Friday.
so good. So good. So, we will talk about it on Friday's show. We should be done with the show. I don't know how many episodes are in the season, but we should be done with that first season by then, and we will definitely talk about it on Point
Oh
Anime
my
and Beyond
gosh.
because that shit is fire. Um, yes. So with that, guys, um, I think we've put the kind of kibosh on this idea that our man Jim Ryan retired. Okay. I mean, clearly it was a forced retirement. All right. He was let go. He was not part of the train of people who were got to just, say, I'm gonna leave. No, he got let go. We know it. This whole show has been the proof that you need.
Yes.
There's never any denial. If anybody ever says to you, bro, you're crazy, he just retired, he wasn't let go, you just point them to this episode right here because we have, without a shadow of a doubt, destroyed the idea that my man just gracefully retired and that this was all
You did
planned
not.
from the beginning. He did not. My man was forced out. Japan is coming in. They're taking over. We don't know what place he's going to be in the next
We
few
don't know,
years.
you guys.
We
What's
don't
gonna
know.
happen?
We have
Man,
no idea. But we are
just like
in
a
it for the
telenovela.
ride. Absolutely. It is like a telenovela. It is like a telenovela. So, guys, with that, we're going to end the show here. Before we go, just finish up the same way we always do. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Doodle, thank you for
Yes.
showing up. I know you were a little
Guys,
late
thank
because you
you
had
for
things going
being
on.
with us. See, I'm sorry I couldn't make it, on time
Okay.
today, but
It's all right. I appreciate you being here. Sanchez MT
hi, baby.
Gaming says, I like
Let's
telenovelas.
go.
Yes, Sanchez. We all like a good telenovela for sure. For sure. Jacob says, I also need an Xbox Series S Black 1 TB due to little memory for 4 big games. Maybe Black Friday, the 25th of
Woo,
November.
yes.
Facts.
Black Friday, that's
Do
where
it.
it's at.
Absolutely. So, guys, just as a reminder, YouTube won't let us monetize. So if you would like to help support us in any way, shape, or form, please do so by joining our Patreon. The link is clicked right up top, is pinned to the chat. It's also in our description. And you would be like these fine people down below who have done so. You have our boy Jacob Novak, who is in the chat right now. You have our boy Mr.
Yes.
Joanna Dark. You have
Yes.
Dragonheart Yobi, and you have our boy Fonto Sir.
Yes,
Guys,
sir.
thank you all so much for coming through. Reminder of what the rest of the week looks like because we made changes. So, for anybody who wasn't here at the beginning of the show, I'm going to tell you right now. Tomorrow, Her, Him, and the Guest is back. And we
Ooh,
have our boy
excited.
Dirk Griggity as a guest. Is going to be
Yes.
fire. 7 p.m. Eastern time. Be there. Eric, I see you popping in now. What is
Welcome.
good,
Good
my man?
morning,
Welcome,
love.
welcome. Thank you for coming by.
Thank
He
you
says,
so
yo,
much.
guys, I'll have to rewatch the stream. I came in way late. It's all good, Eric. Just watch it back. We appreciate it,
Yes.
man. Leave any comments, okay? If you're watching the
Yes.
show and you see something and you're like, oh, man, I don't agree with this or I agree with this, just leave comments and then we will talk
We'll
about
talk
them on
about
the
it
next
next
show
time.
for sure. So, again, guys, tomorrow, Her, Him, and the Guest, Dirk Griggity, be there, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I know some of you guys are on the other side of the pond. Just watch it afterwards and leave comments if you can't be live. But we appreciate you either way. Now, again, the biggest change that is coming is that our gaming podcast, On Point, the gaming newscast, is not going to be on Saturdays anymore. We got a taste of the sweet life where we got to enjoy our weekend as a family without having the podcast. So I will say now you know that our new show day is Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. 5 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully, some of you guys across the pond can still come by. I'm gonna
Yes.
shout out Oats. First show I
Oats, shout
call
out to
live. Good
Oats.
show.
Oh, I'm so
Thank you so
happy.
much, Oats. Much appreciated, my man. Eric says family first.
Yes.
Absolutely. We built our channel as a family. We do everything as a family, but we haven't had weekends to just be a family for a long time. And again, the baby's birthday was just past Saturday. We took the Saturday off, and all of a sudden it was like, man, this was great having the weekend to be with the fam. So we're going to be doing that. So 5 p.m. Eastern time, Thursday is On Point, the gaming newscast. And then on Friday, same day, On Point, Anime and Beyond, but new time. Okay. It used to be 9 p.m. Eastern, not anymore. Okay. We got the taste of having an earlier show, and it was like, you know what? This is pretty good to be done earlier than super midnight, right? So we are going to be doing our show 6 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays. Okay. And then we'll be back Monday with another morning quest at 9 a.m. Guys, you are amazing. Thank you so much for rocking with us. We appreciate you guys.
We love you so
very
much.
We thank you for spending your morning with us. We're starting the week off right. You started our week off right. So thank you so much. Doodle, we're going to end the show the way we end every single show that we have. Baby, we're done.
We're done.
Until next time.
You're intruding.
You're intruding.